some Zerglings, as well as Zergling speed, and maybe even a Spine Crawler if he feels very afraid. Good drink, homemade soda. Now over here, we can see the Zerg using a very annoying technique as a Terran player. He is stealing Jinro's gas. What this allows the Zerg to do, if he cancels, will he cancel? No, he won't. Alright, what this does is it forces Jinro, if he wants to get one of these gases, it forces him to pull off and to pull out some Marines, like this one right here. Oh, that's an SCV. To pull out some Marines and go and kill the gas. But in the meantime, it appears that Jinro is going to go over and do some variation on a Bunker Rush. Bunker Rushes are annoying and powerful, and they're pretty common. Generally versus Zerg, you either see a Bunker Rush, or you see Hellion play, or you might even see a Siege Tank Marine play, but that's generally after a Bunker Rush of some kind. And he sees all the Zerglings which he forced the Zerg to make, and that shows all those Zerglings could have been drones. That could have been 5 drones, and that means Jinro has done his job, he's delayed the expansion, and so he doesn't actually have to attack. That's the theory behind a 2x pressure. So what it looks like, actually, is Jinro will be doing a mass Marine with some sort of upgrade play. He'll either put down an engineering bay, or he'll put down some tech labs, and they'll get really fast stim and really fast other stuff like stim or combat shields. But these bunch of speedlings is actually pretty scary. But Jinro does have a bunch of counter Marines, which should be able to hold off the Zergling pressure pretty easily. Meanwhile, back at Zerg's base, he is harvesting gas with 1 harvester, even though there's that little overlay. He has Ling speed already developed. He is putting down his expansion, which is actually a little bit behind Jinro. This is never a good situation to be in as Zerg. You never want to be behind on your expansion speed. Jinro just now getting his second gas up, continuing to build Marines. Again, I'm sorry for my allergic ways. One moment, please. Okay, so here we have Jinro doing the SimCity, as I said. He's walling off down here to prevent Ling run-bys, and there's just a little bit of space right there, which he can put a Marine, or like, oh, never mind, he's just going to put a Tech Lab down. And so this will allow him to get fast upgrades. And now the Zerglings are going to have to go all the way around here and can't get by. And so this is a very strong technique. And I expect the Zerg... Ooh, the Zerg is double hatching off 2 base. The Zerg is doing something of a SimCity himself. He's walling off with the Queen and a hatch. So the Zerg is getting fast upgrades. I always think this is a good move. I think a really strong all-around build for Zerg is really fast +1 speedlings. I think that is really strong, and too many Zergs get caught up on either Mass Roach or Ling Bling unit. You can do so many cool things with this 2-for-1 unit you have, and you can make it so quickly. But actually, he is instead opting for +1 armor, which is very interesting. And Jinro is going for the bread and butter of the Terran player, Marine Marauder. Marine Marauder is just one of those things, like, you can't fault someone for going it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's never a bad move to go Marine Marauder. I mean, sometimes it's not the best composition. I personally, versus Zerg, like to mech, but I always include Marines, and if they're going really heavy roaches, I'll build some Marauders too. Marine Marauder is just an all-around strong build for a Terran player to have, and it's a very synergistic composition, let's say. Again, for my allergies, I apologize. You have to sit here and listen to me sniffle, but I think that that's better than sitting here and listening to me sneeze. So now we have a bunch of speedlings for our Zerg player running in, as well as 2 hatches off 2 base. It looks like he'll be going for mass speedling, and just now is he getting his layer up. Now, normally in this situation, you're going to see a Zerg player put down a Baneling nest, and look at that, I am psychic. Just now, however, Jinro's upgrades are finishing, and so he has right here a huge ball of 21 total units, 4 of those being Marauders, while the remaining 17 are Marines. And he's just now finishing Stim. He's just now starting Concussive Shell, which only takes like a minute to finish. So I personally really love to do Concussive Shell pushes versus Protoss. And so he's going to have this really scary, highly upgraded Marine Marauder ball coming out pre-mutas popping and before a lot of Banelings can form. And Also, if he decides he wants to pull back, he has scared the Zerg into doing something. Notice the Zerg made 24 speedlings right there, which is actually more than enough to handle this. I mean, I honestly, as a Zerg, I wouldn't be afraid of this just because of how many speedlings and banelings you have. But the Terran can come in, maybe kill some creep, maybe take the watchtowers. He can be scary and go blah blah blah. You have to make stuff. And then that prevents the Zerg from making drones. And that's what you want to do as a Terran player. You want to stop the Zerg from making drones. You want to seize map control back, because Zerglings and Mutalisks give you free map control. And so you want to seize that. You want to grab it. You gotta grab it by the yeah. You just gotta grab them, man. You just gotta you want to seize map control for yourself, and you want to stop the Zerg from economizing. So now we have a Spire going down, and let's see if Jinro is transitioning. He is transitioning to Hellions. Ooh, I like this a lot. Marine Hellion Marauder is a great little composition, and right now Jinro just killed a hatch, but I don't know if I like this. I don't know if this is worth it. He does manage to force a lot of the banelings to explode on Marauders, but he just got completely overwhelmed. Just overextended himself a little bit, but you'll notice how good of a player Jinro is. He's pulling back all these guys back home to defend. And so now Jinro has a reactor factory to work with, and he will be switching it, so most likely he will be getting out some other mech. Hellions would have been a good choice. I like Marine Marauder. I like Marauder Hellion with a lot of Marines as well. But right now, Jinro could lose right here. No! Nice bunker placement from before. Does manage to hold along with a timely stim. So he is now going to be getting out, I mean, probably the most basic Terran composition, Marine Marauder Medevac. Once again, very multi-purpose. Sort of like Stalker Zealot Sentry. It's just one of those things where relatively easy to get out a lot of, relatively safe, and really good at adapting to a lot of situations. He's now throwing down his third expansion, while the Zerg is re-throwing down his third expansion, and he's Maynarding some probes. For those of you who don't know what that is, Maynarding your probes is where you send a few of them to an expansion to start mining quicker. The Zerg has gotten melee and Carapace. So it looks like he's going to be sticking with the Zergling Baneling, and most likely just to keep up with his upgrades, he will transition into Crackling Ultra if he gets on Hive Tech. Cracklings are a really fun choice to make. They're really awesome against Terran. I mean, they're really awesome against everything. They're so cheap and so good. But right now, if he doesn't get just a few more mutas, that's only 9 mutas, which is a ton, but he just needs a few more so that way he can keep map control and not have to deal with these drops. If I were Jinro, I'd like to see him get some Thors or some Vikings. Just something to deal with that many Mutalisks, because that, he has set up missile turrets, which is always good. As a Terran, you want to have missile turrets. Now, as a Zerg player, you're going to see this ball and you're going to be going, it's scary. I wish Jinro had better turret placement, because you'll notice that these reactors and these poor supply depots are almost completely exposed, as well as the fact you could pretty easily snipe these medevacs. At this point, I would... Oh, the Marauders left down there. That's going to be a couple of free Marauder pot shots, and you can probably snipe that tank, because the Marines just aren't mobile enough. Jinro did not have very good turret positioning. He needed to put a turret here, and a turret here, and a turret down here. But I do like his SimCity. I would just like to see him do a little better turret coverage. He also, he has been getting his upgrades well, which I like. There's also another engineering base somewhere. There it is. So he has been getting his upgrades nicely. He's just letting his macros slip slightly, and he's taking the space. However, there is a Zergling scouting it. Jinro could also take this base. That would not be a bad choice, because the way Jinro likes to play Terran versus Zerg is he likes to get a third base with a planetary fortress, and then use that to establish map control and to launch from there. And look at me, I'm a genius. I was right. I know Jinro. Cool. Good for me. And now we're seeing, what did I tell you? These Zerg get Hive Tech. Now, he has also been working on his flyer attack upgrade, which means he's going to be able to fully utilize his Hive Tech. Now, as a Zerg player, it's really easy to float minerals. It's not too difficult to spend all your gas, but minerals are really easy to stockpile as Zerg. So therefore, I like this late game Zerg play. Throw down two expansions, get a big ball of mutas, As Jinro right here, good, getting Thors. That is a good choice because Thor, I personally prefer Thor Viking because I think Viking range and the fact you can snipe things like, you can snipe Overlords, and it's a really good preparation if they get up to Hive Tech and go for Broodlords. And yes, we are going to be seeing some Ultralisks most likely. But still, as personally, as someone whose Terran versus Zerg is the strongest matchup right now, I like to get Vikings pretty early because they're not good against Mutalisks, but they're not bad against Mutalisks. Well, they're bad, but they're not terrible. They can actually like hit them. Oh, Jinro doing a nice drop over here. What's a great thing to do as a Terran player is to just abuse drops late game. Boxer first did this with the dropship play in StarCraft Brood War. He's pretty much the person who invented multi-drops versus Zerg, and right now I would say the Zerg is on much stronger footing. He is generally 4-base Zerg is about even with 3-base Terran, just because of the way the production capacity of each race. Terran can produce economy while producing units, but at the same time Zerg can produce units and reinforce a lot quicker, so therefore this is pretty even right now. But if we look at the tech advantage, this and this point straight to Zerg dominance, as well as this and this. Now, if I were the Zerg, I would be trying to use my Infestation Pit. I think that's the thing. Right now, it's a waste. Getting some Infestors is not bad. Some Infestors could shut down that drop play. An Infestor here and an Infestor here would allow, along with some creep spread here, would allow you to protect these 4 from drops long enough for Speedlings or Mutalisks to get there. Oh, he caught the tanks unsieged. I do not like this if I'm Jinro. Oh man, that just got ripped to shreds.